There are many steps you need to follow to get a first application with Google Maps API running. The first step is to add permissions to the application manifest. I'll open an application from the exercise files, a simple Hello World application. I'll select File, Import, Existing Projects into Workspace, and then I'll choose an archive file. I'll go to my exercise files to the chapter 02 First App, and I'll choose this archive, permissions.zip. I'll complete the import process, and that copies the project to my workspace. This is a very simple starting application. I'll open the main activity and then run the application on my device. If prompted for USB debugging, I'll touch OK. Then I'll come back to Eclipse, and I'll select the device and click OK, and the application loads up. So now I'm going to modify the application by adding required permissions to the application manifest. First, note the package name of this very simple application, com.example.gmapsapp. The first part of the package, com.example, is a reserved domain. It's intended only for use in documentation and training assets. When you try to create a brand new Android application, I'll start creating one called Hello World, you'll get a message that says the prefix com.example is a placeholder and shouldn't be used. And that's true for applications that you're intending to deploy in the Google Play Store or other Android markets. But for simple testing applications, it's perfectly fine. So I'll go to the application manifest and open it up in full screen. First, I'm going to add some standard stock permissions. These are permissions that you'll need to communicate across the internet, to use the network state, and to write locally so that Google Maps can cache content on the device. I'll go to the Permissions tab, and I'll click Add, and I'll select Uses Permission. First, I'll add the Internet permission. I'll pull down the list of available permissions and choose Android.permission.internet. Then I'll add another user's permission, and this time I'll choose Access Network State. And I'll add one more, and this one will be Write External Storage. Those are the only permissions you'll be able to add from this visual interface. The other permissions are unique to Google Maps or are custom permissions that you need to set up. So to do that, I'll go to the XML view of the manifest. I'll place the cursor above the existing permissions that I just added, and I'll make a little bit of space. The next step is to define a new permission. The name of the permission will start with your application package and end with permission.mapsReceive. I'll create a new permission tag, and I'll give it a name attribute, and I'll start with my application package, and I'll copy and paste it to make sure I get it right. Then after the application package, I'll finish it up with permission.maps_receive. Notice that maps_receive is in uppercase and the rest of the package is in lowercase. It's case sensitive and must be spelled exactly this way. Next, I'll add an attribute called protection level, and I'll set it to a value of signature. This means that the application that defines the permission and the application that uses the permission must be using the same code signature. And I'll shorten the syntax here by removing the end tag and putting in a slash. So I've defined this special permission, and now I'll add a tag to use the permission. I'll add a new Uses Permission tag. I'll set the name attribute, and I'll copy and paste this package that I used to define the permission. Now again, the name of the permission will change from one application to the next, because it has to start with the package of the current application. Now I'll add another permission. I'm going to use a permission that's defined by the Google Play services. It's called read_g_services, and it looks like this. I'll add another Uses Permission tag, and I'll set the name to the following: com.google.com .android.providers. And then follow that with .gsf, .permission, and then in uppercase, read_G_services. This permission is critical. If you misspell this in any way, the map won't work. The most likely result of a misspelling would be seeing a white blank screen where you expect to see a map. Finally, I'll add a tag called Uses Feature. The Google Maps API requires OpenGL ES 2.0 for its graphics. And so to make sure that the device has that, add a Uses Feature tag. To this tag, add an attribute called GLESversion and set it to a hex value of 0x00020000. And that means that you're looking for OpenGL ES version 2.0. Also add required equals true. This means that when you publish the application to the Google Play Store, only devices that have this version of OpenGL ES or later will see this application as being available and compatible with the device. So those are all the absolutely required permissions. You define and use maps receive, you use the stock permissions internet, access network state, and write external storage. You use the read G services permission that's a part of the Google Play Services library, and you use OpenGL ES 2.0 or later to support the graphics. You can save your changes, but we're not quite ready to test the application. We've added permissions, but we don't yet have complete permission to use the Google Play library. For that, we'll need an API key, and I'll show you how to get that and set it up in the next movie.